Hi, I'm Charla from Freezer Meals 101.
And I'm Christy.
And today we're doing something a little different.
Mm-hmm.
We are making just one recipe, and it is like,
It's a doozy, and it's a good one, and it will warm the cockles of your heart.
Yes.
Yeah, it really will.
This is my grandma's pumpkin muffins, and the recipe, I will do a close-up of this, but this is her original recipe in her handwriting, and it is like full of like pumpkin oil stains, and it's old. And my grandma was a wonderful baker. She was a wonderful person, just super kind and loving. And if I'm anything like my grandma, that would be a huge compliment. So, yeah, this is a special recipe for me. This is the only recipe of my grandma's that was handed down to me. She passed away when I was 14, and so I did do some baking with her when I was young, but this is the only recipe that I inherited. And I make it a lot.
Yeah, you do. Like, yeah, she does. And I think the first day I ever met you, when I came over here, you were making, because she doubles it, and it's in this big bowl, and she's in there with her spoon, and she doesn't use a mixer. You mix it by hand. Oh yeah, I have a mixer.
No, I mix
it by hand.
Yeah.
And it's very cute, but they are really delicious. It's wonderful pumpkin flavor, and it's got butterscotch chips in it, which is
kind of
very
the star.
good. It is kind of the star, and it's a nice little surprise. And they freeze well. Otherwise, what would we be doing there?
Yeah.
And I make them at home now too.
Because it's the best recipe, and it's one of those ones where, like, when someone has a baby or something, I will bring them pumpkin muffins, and over the years, like, there's now dozens of people who have my grandma's pumpkin muffin recipe, because
they really do.
Anyone who tries them is like, can I have the recipe?
Yeah,
because
it's the one, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know, back then they weren't as concerned with sugar and oil and all those things.
There is some sugar and oil, but you know those old recipes? Those are the good ones.
It's got copious
I have to tell you,
both.
you probably know this. Yes, I think you know this. You don't know this. My mother-in-law, when my husband was 10, 11 years old, she hand wrote him a book of their family's favorite recipes. So it was stuff from his grandma, stuff that she made all the time, like his mom, and from like Auntie Joe's sweet and sours are in there, and they're so good. Hey, I bet you this could be a freezer meal. They're short ribs. We don't have a short rib. See?
Auntie Joe's.
Auntie Joe. And so it's all been written down, and she made one for his sister, and they are beautiful, and it's in her gorgeous handwriting. And I mean, it's just in this coil-bound notebook, but what a treasure to have, and it's got canning in there. It's got household stuff like how to season a cast iron frying pan.
That's so awesome.
It is wonderful to have these old recipes. There's always room for new stuff, but we do not want to get rid of the old stuff, because
that's where the gold is.
That's where the magic happens. That's for sure.
It's like the time of year right now where like pumpkin spice, like all the pumpkin things, right? And so we thought it'd just be fun to share this recipe with you. And like I said, you can freeze them. They're great for on the go, like
school lunches.
Yep.
And when you double it, it makes a lot.
It makes a lot.
They
do not last long in my house. I'm going to be honest with you and tell you that I do hide them. Like when I make them, my kids know that I make them, because like I'll show them that there's one bag in the freezer or whatever, but there's multiple bags. I just hide them. Like I have certain places, in case my kids are watching this, I'm not going to tell you where in the freezer I hide them, but
it's behind the Brussels sprouts.
So, yeah, because otherwise they are gone within, and we do have a large family, but I mean, they are gone within a few days, the doubled recipe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I have to be careful when I make them, but these are, they're awesome.
They're awesome, so let's get started.
Okay, so we are doing a large can of pumpkin, 4 cups of sugar. I warned you about the sugar, right? 4 eggs, It's supposed to be 3 cups of oil, but over the years, I've made it less and less and less and gotten to where I think there's a happy medium. So, it's kind of like 2 and a bit cups of oil. And then we're gonna mix our wet ingredients together. And then on top of that, we're gonna put 6 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, some salt, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, and then you can do cinnamon, or I do pumpkin pie spice. So I do probably about 5 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. I'm pretty generous with that. And I mix those dry ingredients together on the top, and then because I don't want to dirty another bowl, and I don't like extra dishes. So I know that you're supposed to do them in 2 separate bowls, but this is how I do it. I mix those dry ingredients together on the top of the wet ingredients, and then I mix it down into the wet ingredients. Then you are going to stir in your butterscotch chips, which I can get my kids to eat pumpkin because of these butterscotch chips. So if you've got picky eaters, this is a really great recipe for school lunches, after school snacks, whatever, to get some. I think pumpkin's a fruit. So if you want to get fruit/vegetable into your kiddo, then these butterscotch chip pumpkin muffins are a great way. And you're gonna bake those at 350 for 20-ish minutes. And you wanna grease your baking tray unless your muffin hands, unless you're using like a stoneware one. But when my mom makes these, she makes them with cupcake liners, but I don't do that. Christy Googled it, and pumpkins are in fact a fruit. So we're gonna go with, if you wanna get some fruit into your kiddos, then this is a great recipe to do that in. My wonderful grandma's pumpkin muffins. So that's it. We've made these gorgeous, delicious pumpkin fruit.
Do you know what? The next time we make butternut squash, we're gonna call it fruit soup. It's fruit and vegetable soup. A squash is a fruit. It grows on a vine. It's like a tomato. A tomato is a fruit. Like a watermelon is a fruit. The vine vegetables are fruits.
You never know what we're going to teach you or learn ourselves.
Yeah, I was pretty sure, but I just Googled it really quick, and sure enough, it's a fruit.
If you want the full recipe for these pumpkin muffins, you can find it in the Freezer Meals 101 Club. We're going to put the link for that down below. We so appreciate you joining us. We're going to put a video right there of how to make your muffins ahead and freeze them. Now, we showed you one way today because we cooked them and freeze them. That video has 3 different muffin recipes, and it has how to freeze them, just the batter, and then bake them later, fresh, which doesn't work as well, in my opinion. But
as baking them first and then freezing. Yeah. But you can do it.
But you can do it.
You can do it.
So thanks for joining us today. Happy pumpkin muffin making.
Bye.